Okay, we're good. Share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay, good. So we're going to do a little housekeeping. Obviously, we're recording this class and the three total sport leadership track classes for the master's program will be a hybrid class like this, at least this first time going through. I'm the course developer for the three classes, so I get the creativity to be a little bit innovative and design some more practical, less abstract kind of assignments. And I get to kind of run things the way I want to. So anyway, the weekly meeting is required as part of your attendance grade and participation grade. Now, that being said, my intent in designing this was to have 3 in-person meetings, but that got switched to Zoom, 3 out of the 8-week class. And so the others, I want you to keep the time available, but we will probably not meet on many of the weeks. So if you can manage that, if you can keep that together and keep that slot open, do so, because we may end up actually going forward and having a meeting in those other weeks. But for sure, this week, next week, and the final week, make sure that you're in attendance for this call. The others, like I said, I'll let you know probably on during the weekend, or maybe even on the day of, that whether the Zoom call is not going to take place. Otherwise, assume that it is. Fair enough? Okay. So we got a quick little agenda here. I'm not going to read through, obviously, because you all can read. So, but I want to jump in first to the introductions, and I'm going to start real quick, and then I'd like you to just I'll cold call you and ask you to share a couple of things. So first of all, my mouse is really touchy. My name is Dr. Rice. You can call me Dr. Rice. There are 2 Drs. Rice in my household. My husband and I both have terminal degrees. You will meet him in the next sport leadership class, the fundraising and financial concepts class. He'll be teaching that one. But I'm Dr. Candy Rice. So you can see what my degrees are in, kind of all across the board. And I was a 3-sport athlete in college. Doesn't look like it now, and I'm a lot older than it was then. But I played basketball, volleyball, and fast pitch softball. And I was All-American in both basketball and volleyball. So I've been there, done the whole, like, I'm super busy. It's like, got to do the classwork, got to show up, got to prepare, got to be ready to play, got to take care of your body, you got to take care of your mind, all of those things. I've been there, I've gone through it, and done well with it. My professional background is also very broad. I've started 5 small businesses over the course of my adult life in web design and graphic design, professional photography, marketing concierge and business concierge consulting. And now finally, I do organizational consulting for presidents and principals of organizations and help them with their planning for their strategy for 5 to 10 years out, and also helping them plan and manage change. As you can see, I also spent a few years doing sport marketing. I started a sport marketing program out of non-existence at a Division III private liberal arts college in Ohio called Hiram College. Division III, they had 20 sports teams, and I got to have the fun of creating a program that would market them both on campus and off. At the same time, I was the SID. If any of you have done any work of that sort, you can, or if you know the SID on your campus, you know how busy that job can be. I was working about 100 hours a week. This was back in like 2004, 5, 6, in that range. And I was the only female in the NCAC conference doing sports information. So I had the chance to kind of be in there and do things a little bit differently than all the rest of the guys were doing it. And eventually some of them started to even mimic how I was setting up my program. So I've coached, I've been a senior woman administrator for a school changing from NAIA Division 1 to NCAA 2. And so I know a fair amount about sports. My husband has been an athletic director and basketball and numerous other sports at the college level for 20 plus years. So I may not look like a sport person, but I've got the experience and the background in it. And I'm looking forward to sharing some of what I've learned over the years with you. As you also can read, I'm originally from Minnesota, but I've lived in Ireland and also in 10 different states. I've been married to Tim for 26 years, and we've lived kind of all over the country, other than the Pacific Northwest and California. I should also say that I have allergies, and often it'll result in some coughing or in like a scratchy voice. So bear with me, if you will, tonight. I may have to put in a lozenge or something, but my voice might get a little hoarse, but we'll do the best that I can. Right now, as I mentioned, I do consulting, and I'm also teaching part-time online for 3 different universities here in the States. My most recent project was in Moldova, the country of Moldova. Both Tim and I went over and worked with a basketball academy that helps boys and girls in elementary school through high school learn the game of basketball and get opportunities to kind of pull themselves up of what is the poverty of one of the poorest countries in all of Eurasia. So, and then prior to that, Tim and I spent almost a year working with a boys' school, high school in Galway, Ireland. And we are huge fans of Ireland. We both have ancestry there. And prior to the pandemic, we would travel there twice a year and do basketball related instruction and other things. So that's just kind of a brief overview of me. And now we're going to ask you to tell us these things, like what your name is. If it's not what shows on, in the Genzabar or the learning management system, then tell me what you'd prefer to be called, where you're from, what sport team, if you're affiliated with at UJ, and then this little gem of a marketing skill you think you already have. So would someone like to volunteer to start, or should I cold call? Okay, we're going to cold call. So how about Cameron, since you were the 4th one to join us tonight? How about you go first?
All right, I'm Cameron. I'm from Washington State. Currently, I'm living here in Jamestown. I play baseball and been here 6 years now. This is my last year playing ball, and I'm gonna end up living here because I met my fiance at UJ. So we're gonna be living here, and then marketing skill I believe I possess. I just think I have good communication skills with people. I'm really good with conversating with them and getting to know them pretty quickly and get down to what they like and stuff like that. And it helps me a lot in my job where I'm constantly selling stuff. And so it's always good to communicate with them, and I get people to buy a lot more stuff than they originally planned on buying.
Excellent. Yep, that's a great skill to have in marketing. And I imagine you could probably talk to anybody and find a connection with them too. That's my guess. Yeah. Yep. Great. Well, congratulations on being engaged, and that's exciting. What part of Washington are you from?
Eastern Washington. So like down in the bottom right corner, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was born over the Seattle side on the west side. And so all my family's over there. And so I just say from Washington, and I literally mean Washington because I grew up on both sides of the state.
The entire part. Okay.
Yeah. So constantly crossing back and forth, playing baseball, seeing family and everything. And so I'm just from Washington, basically.
Okay. That's cool. Well, welcome to the class. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Chip.
All right. Who would like to go next? Or shall I pick again?
I'll go ahead and go.
Okay.
My name is Chris Burks. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I've kind of moved around a little bit coaching college basketball. I've been coaching for, I think this is my 6th year coaching college basketball. And I guess I coach women's basketball, not men's basketball. And
Okay.
marketing school, I would say communication and relationships as well. At every school I've been at, I've been trusted to lead the recruiting, I guess, strategy or coordination, if you will, because that's kind of my thing. So I would say those two are my best skill.
Awesome. Yeah, you'll find lots of use for that if you end up, well, most of the time, as you probably already know, if you're doing any kind of work in the sport industry already, there's a lot of crossover. You end up doing a lot of different things, typically, unless you're at the highest level. So very cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, is it Sam or Samuel?
It's wherever you want. It could be Sammy or Sam. Doesn't bother me either way. But my name's Samuel Winning. I'm the men's soccer assistant coach, and I'm from Scotland originally. And I would say one skill I've got is I'm a good motivator. You know, when we have those team talks and when we need to get people to get working, you know, I think that's definitely one of the big strengths I've got in sports management and marketing altogether.
So the motivational side, you've nailed that, huh? Cool.
I guess. I
Working
hope
on
so.
it at least.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. And did you say that you are you a GA? Are you coaching with the soccer?
Yes, I'm a graduate assistant for the men's soccer team, and I'm
Okay.
also a head coach of a semi-professional team in Fargo as well.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you're busy too. All of you guys are. I knew that you would be. I'm excited to see how y'all are connected. So, Conrad, let's hear from you, please.
My name is Conrad Volch. I'm from Apple Valley, California. I am a graduate assistant for the SID department here at UJ, and I'm a live stream sportscaster for my main duties. And I think the marketing skill I think I possess. I think communication and relationships as well, kind of what Chris said. I tend to be way overly detailed in everything I do because that's just how I am. But I just would rather give you too many details than kind of leave a bunch of stuff out and not communicate it, I guess.
That's perfect. I mean, you know that I'm that way too, and that can work against me sometimes, but it's usually an advantage. And I don't know, I like to call it, that's just being thorough, right? We're not like anal or too analytical or any of that. We're just thorough. So, okay, cool. Well, it's good to see you guys, and let's jump right in. So, as I mentioned, and as you know, this is 8 weeks. You've all taken some classes in the master's program already, right? Yes. Okay. So you have any of them been online? Okay. Then you're aware that the learning week for an online class goes the whole week, Monday through Sunday, all 7 days. It's different from an on the ground class where you would have like maybe 2 or 3 class meetings a week. And then, you know, you're kind of not expected really to do anything or like check in necessarily for the rest of the days. But that's different with a class like this. You're responsible to be in the class shell or in the course shell is what I mean, for at least 3 days. And most of the assignments are due between Thursday and Sunday. Okay, so be aware of that because that's an important difference. And then this is what you will experience in the sport leadership track classes. I don't accept any late work, like not at all, unless there's a significant family or school or work emergency that you let me know about, and we talk about and decide on an appropriate extension. Otherwise, if you don't make the deadline, it's a 0. And I know that sounds harsh, but you all are athletes or coaches, and I know you can relate to showing up, being prepared, having your cleats or your shorts or your your uniform, all of your stuff in order and ready to play when that game takes place. You don't get to have a do-over. You don't get to go back and make it up, right? You have one chance. Same thing is true, I believe, and should be true in your academic experience, because you're here to put in your best effort, bring your A game, all that stuff. So I don't accept late work. Don't let that, don't slip up there, because I teach, like I said, other universities, and inevitably some students will go, oh, maybe she doesn't mean it. Or maybe I can beg her into letting me have a do-over at the end of the class, but it doesn't work like that. If you don't turn in the work, it's a 0, and the zeros stack up quickly and they're hard to overcome, okay? So along with that, I don't do makeup work or extra credit. So again, it's treat this like this is part of your athletic season. You know, you gotta know when the game is, and you gotta be ready, and you have to show up, and you gotta participate, okay? For my own kind of anecdotal research, I want to ask you real quickly, are you guys using a phone or a computer when you do your schoolwork?
A computer.
Computer and laptop, I kind of flip flop between the two.
Okay, and I mean computer / laptop, same thing,
Yeah.
whatever. Tablet. Samuel,
Yeah, computer
okay,
half the time.
okay, and Cameron? Cameron, what are you using, a laptop or a phone?
Computer.
Okay,
Computer. Yeah. You mean
okay,
Conrad?
perfect. Yeah, okay. And so then, are you all using Microsoft Word as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that helps me out. So if you're not already doing this, this is something that other students have had occasionally happen, where something goes wrong in the learning management system, and they're like, oh, I just typed my post into the discussion and it crashed, and now I don't have it. Well, maybe if you're not already doing this, maybe try to get yourself in the habit of where you create everything in Microsoft Word and then save it, so that if you end up running into a crash situation, you've got that backup copy, and you don't have to spend the time recreating the assignment. You can just copy and paste it into the system, okay? You're gonna have to read a lot. Part of what grad school is about is not only doing the work, but can you think critically and follow instructions? And can you match the details to what is required to be submitted? So it's going to be really important. I've deliberately written long, detailed assignment instructions so that there's no question. If you just read and follow the instructions, it'd be very hard to not do well in the class, because I tell you literally what headings to use, in what order. So read the assignments, it's important, and it will help you do a good job in the class. As you might imagine, just from how I've been speaking already, the grades are earned, not given. They're based on rubrics. I've made my own rubrics for the different assignments. And if you look at them, they are available for every assignment. And if you look at them before you start working on the assignment, you'll have a really, really great idea of what I'm going to be grading on. And then you just create the assignment based on the instructions in the rubric. Pretty basic. It's designed to help you do really well and support your success. You just have to show up and take onus of that and do your part to look at them. You're all familiar with the learning management system, right? Like nobody has never, I mean, you have all used it, correct? Shake your head, thumbs up, whatever. Yep, okay. So you know where to find that stuff, that's good. And then, like I said, I've written long and detailed instructions on purpose, because part of what I want to see is, can you follow instructions? Can you follow requirements? You know, how critical is your thought process, and all of those things. So off we go. Are each of you, can you log in now to your My UJ and get into the class? Please. Let me get a drink. And I'm going to share here. So this is what you should be looking at is, are we all in the same place? Still working on it, maybe? Okay. So as you can see, all the left navigation is, I'm sure you've seen this all before. But you've got your resources in here with the syllabus. So you can open that and look through it. Tonight, some of the assignments we're going to complete in class will require you to look through the syllabus and do a few other things. But as you look like at the interview or the, excuse me, the overview, you can see for each week what you are required to read and what the assignments are that are due. There's a summary of the chapter or chapters that are assigned for reading, and then the assignments that are due. Now, don't let this scare you. It looks like a huge amount of work, but I promise you, we're going to do the first quiz and the first 3 discussions in class tonight. They're going to go quick. And then you've got a quiz that is open book. All the quizzes are open book. Yay, right? Okay. And my intent behind that is so that you will actually read the text, because when you have an open book quiz, you at least, I know you'll at least be skimming it, and that's better than just avoiding it altogether. So the discussion 1 then is due on Thursday. We'll talk more about deadlines, and then a SWOT analysis is due on Sunday night or by Sunday night. You've got resources down at the bottom of each week of the overview. So these are PowerPoints from the textbook. If you learn more visually, feel free to use those. They're not required for you to go through, but it is a nice additional resource if you're less geared toward reading lots of text and would like to see more abbreviated stuff or use them in tandem, however you decide. And then of course, there's a sample formatted paper. We are using APA 7th edition in this class, and I've created a sample that's already perfectly accurately formatted. And so if you are smart or clever, you would simply download this and use it as your template to type in your information, right? And be pretty assured that you could get at least the APA formatting points available, provided that you're, careful with how you use the template. So that is there for you as well. There is one for each week, as you can see up here. So this is next week, and you can see already way fewer assignments. Okay. I did want to show you, actually, let me switch back to the PowerPoint. Let's see. So for the syllabus, the highlights, you're going to want to, when you go through this a little later tonight in class, you're going to want to pay attention and look at these things that are listed here. In terms of in-class assignments, these are the 4 that are going to be done while you're in class. And then the other 3 we'll talk about just kind of briefly before you get on them for the week. I think this is as good a time as any for you to stop or us to jump into the quiz. So have you made a note of what is needed to be done? If not, please do that. And I'm going to change the screen back to look at the course. So if you go to coursework for week 1, you can see these are the things that are due this week. So this first course information acknowledgement quiz is not graded, but it's required. And until you complete this quiz, you cannot do any of the other assignments in the course. So go ahead and start with that and work your way through. Take your time, because it's an 8-question quiz that makes sure that you understand the different policies that are important to this class. So let's start there. And then once you're finished with that, do discussion 1A and 1B. 1C will be part of the quiz. Okay. When you're finished, I guess in Zoom, like maybe put your hand up, like the Zoom hand up. So I know when you're done. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Any questions so far?
So we are doing discussion board 1C.
Yes, it's part of question number 8 in the quiz.
Right.
Yep. When you get to 1B, give me a sign.
did you say to let you know once we got to question 8 or got to discussion
To-
1C?
To 1B, like boy. So after you're done with the quiz.
Okay, so we do 1C first and then 1B.
Yeah, 1C is part of question 8 in the quiz. It takes you there and then you come back and finish the quiz.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense now.
Okay. Give me a check-in. How are the rest of you guys doing on the quiz? Where are you?
I'm down to question 8. I just got to do 1C first.
Okay,
I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I clicked on the microphone, but it's not
on the recording?
yeah, it says my browser is currently denying permissions for webcam or microphone usage. And to use this feature, I have to enable those permissions. And I've been looking for the past 5 minutes on how to do that. But I'm pretty much useless unless Steve Vogel is sitting next to me.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so you are clicking the little camera symbol and it's giving you an error message in your browser.
Yes. Or yeah.
What browser are you using, Chris?
Google Chrome.
Chrome. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. When
But
did you do?
it says webcam and microphone is the access is on the device. When I go to webcam or microphone, it says that it's the setting is set to on for for my apps. So I don't.
But it
No.
isn't actually letting you record. Can you copy and paste the error message into the chat for me?
I got the same thing. I think it might be doing that because we're using the microphone and the camera for the Zoom call.
For Zoom,
Mm.
okay. Yeah, that could be. Okay, why don't we do this then? Try leaving the call temporarily. So end the call and see if you can do the recording and then come right back into the Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, try that. Samuel, are you having trouble with the recording?
Yeah, I've just got to do the video. And
Okay, are you
keep
getting
on-
the same error the other guys are?
No, I just find my computer is not very good at doing video. So, so that's why I'm using my phone to do the Zoom, because it just sometimes doesn't work with a video, but everything else I've done, but I'll keep trying for this just now.
Okay,
Try to get it done.
okay. So you're trying to record with your phone? Is that
No, with my laptop.
with your laptop? Okay.
Yeah.
And is it not working because it's not?
I think it's just an old laptop, it takes, that's why I'm doing the Zoom call on my phone,
Okay.
because
What if you get off the Zoom call off your phone, record your video on your phone, and upload it into the forum from what you record on your
Okay.
phone, and then come
Okay,
right
I'm
back
good.
into the Zoom call.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it one more time on this, and then if that doesn't work, I'll try it on the phone.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yep.
I got mine to work.
Perfect. Okay, good deal. Hey, Cameron, does
Hi,
that work for you?
I think.
Okay, let me double check and see on the other side.
Yeah, because I did the recording, it worked. And then I clicked post, but then I don't see anything when I look at mine.
Okay, I see. Yep. Let's see. No, I can't see it either.
Okay, so it doesn't show the video then.
No, I'm not seeing any of you guys. You did hit submit, right? After you did the video?
Mhm.
Yeah, mine says everything is in and had all the grades and stuff. Yeah, I saw Cameron's and Conrad's too.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if mine worked, so I did 2 posts because when I went to go see if the little play thing was on there, I couldn't see it. So if there's 2 in there, that's why.
Okay. Yeah, I see 2 from you, Conrad, but that's no problem. Okay. So Samuel is the one we don't have yet back. Go ahead and do 1A real quick. It's just a real quick statement. I mean, if you're finished with the quiz, go ahead and do discussion board 1A. Chris, did it work for you then as well?
The video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Samuel, welcome back. Did it work for you?
No, it still didn't work. So I tried on my phone and on this, and
No luck?
I don't know what's going on. No.
Okay. Why not for right now then? Do you have the video on your phone still?
Well,
you-
when I go on my phone, it says I've got to use Google Chrome, which I don't have.
Did you
Oh,
record
on-
the video on your phone though?
And no.
Okay, why don't you look at the instructions for 1C, discussion board
Mhm.
1C again, and just do that recording on your phone and email it to me.
Okay.
At least we can, and then go back and answer the question in question 8 in the quiz to finish.
Okay.
Any questions? Having any trouble?
You want us to do 1B as well, or leave that alone for
You can do 1B, but well, no, actually, I'd rather you'd wait. So, because I just want to give a comment or two about that first.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
You said don't do 1B, correct?
Yeah, wait on 1B for now. Cameron, how are you doing with the quiz?
I gotta go back to that.
Okay.
Uh, okay, got it.
Okay. Great.
I forgot to go back and click continue.
Okay, yeah, perfect. All right, I see that it's complete now. Good. Okay. And and it looks like you've all done discussion 1A. Is that correct? Okay, brilliant. So do you have discussion 1B open?
So we don't need to do any replies, right?
No, not for these. This is just a single post. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're looking at, let me go back and share this. Let's see. Excuse me. Okay, so looking at 1B, this is just going to be a simple post, the name of the team. Don't post yet, because what I want to explain is all of the assignments that you'll be doing in this course are going to be related to the team that you choose to market. Okay, so Jimmy's team, it's one of those listed from the athletics website. And if I don't want you to double up, so it's sort of first come, first serve. But so decide which team you want to use. It can be the team you're a part of, or it can be a team that you're not a part of. Either way is fine with me. It's just a matter of making sure that nobody chooses the same, no two people choose the same team. So go ahead and choose the team you want. Just type in your the name of the team that you want, and that's all you need for this post. Okay, it looks like you've all got it. Go back to this. Okay, everybody is finished, correct? Yes? Okay. So back to, can you see my screen again? We're back to the PowerPoint. Good. So the rest of the week, again, you've got a quiz. Their quizzes are due every Wednesday. The deadline is always 11:55 p.m. in your time zone, which for most of you is the same as mine here in West Fargo. So just be aware of that unless it's posted otherwise, or you get an email or an announcement from me. Safely assume that it's always going to be due on a Wednesday. Discussion board initial posts are always due on Thursday, and we'll talk a little bit more about those deadlines here in a minute. Discussion 1 has to do with the 5 Ps of marketing, and I've assigned those to you. So while you're in the course shell right now, go to the discussion 1 and let me know if you can see my posts in that discussion. Can you all see what mine is, where it assigns the different P to each of you in the class? Or is it not visible?
I don't see it on mine.
Okay. I was thinking that was probably going to happen because of the way the course was set up by the designer, where you have to add a post before you can see what's posted. So I'm going to share it on my screen so that you can see what you're responsible for the first discussion. Excuse me. I added a 6P to this because we have 6 students, but the textbook operates on these first 5: product, price, place, promotion, and public relations. There are other models of the 5 Ps that include people instead of public relations, or purpose, but we're going to add in people as a 6th one for the sake of our discussion in this discussion board. Okay, so if you need to jot down what yours is, please do, because it's going to affect how you do your discussion posts.
And you said this was located where?
This is actually my first, it's the first post in the discussion 1 forum, but the way that the instructional designer set up the class is that when you go into post in a discussion forum, you can't see what's already posted there until you submit your own post first. So my concern was correct in that you wouldn't be able to see this because none of you have posted in the forum to begin with. So just take note of what yours is, and then we'll go forward from there. Everybody got that? Do you have yours taken care of, or at least written down? Anybody not? Okay, I'm going to go back to the to this. Now, discussion boards, have you done them before online? Okay, what do you think of them in the traditional sense? You can all go off mute real quick.
I think they're awful.
Okay, what else? Does anybody love it?
No, I've personally I never really cared for them, especially when we did normal like classes in undergrad, where we would be discussing in class about stuff and then have to go in and do a discussion board right after we did it. So to me, I never liked them because I'm doing the same thing twice,
right,
where I don't really need to, because then we have an open discussion throughout the class and we can, do it right then and there while it's all fresh in our minds, instead of leaving class and then going to practice, lunch, doing other homework, and all of a sudden coming back to this and we're like, what did we talk about? And everything. So that's why I never liked doing them.
Okay, well, I can understand why. That's a kind of crappy way to have to do it, unfortunately. In the online world, in the totally online classroom world, discussion boards are traditionally set up so that you have to write in formal or academic writing style in third person voice, you know, so you're not saying I did this or you should think about that or we did whatever. It's all the person or the author or whatever, and you have to cite everything using correct APA citations, and you have to have 2 or 3 references for every post. It has to be 300 words minimum and 100-word replies and all that stuff. I threw all that out for this class, and because I know that it doesn't, they're boring and they're hard to actually have conversation between the people in the class. So we're doing discussion boards differently. And at least for the first one, I'm going to be observing to see whether we can do this or if we have to abandon it and go back to the traditional way of doing them, which I really, really don't want to have to do. And I really don't want you to have to do. So let's work hard to do these differently. And I'm going to talk through that here right now. So in the way that I've set up our discussion boards for the course, you are going to be, for many of them, you're going to be assigned an aspect of the topic, and you'll present your post. And there's no word minimums for the post, for the responses, for whatever. You just have to make sure that you cover the information and present it appropriately. It's not, doesn't have to be cited in APA. It doesn't have to be formal writing. So in other words, you can say, well, I don't think that this is correct, and here's why, instead of having to use he, she, they, you know, etc. Okay. Now, the only thing I'm asking in return for letting you off the hook, so to speak, with the academic writing and the APA stuff is that you actually take the time to develop a good post, and that you actually communicate with each other in the post or in the forum rather. So in order to make that happen, you are required in these discussions in this class to respond to everybody else's post, not just 2, but everybody. But again, there's no word minimum. So as long as it's a substantive response and you're asking an open-ended question to keep the discussion going, it could be 1 sentence if it has to be, you know, if that's enough to get the point across and keep it going. But the intention is to actually build some engagement and written discussion around a certain topic and make you have to approach it from one angle of the topic. So in this case, for this first one, whatever your P is, I know it sounds funny, whatever your marketing P is, you have to write your post and answer these questions in the instruction. So you need to define what your assigned P is and accurately explain it in your own words, okay? Then you need to go and find an online story or an ad or something and find 2 examples of your assigned marketing P. So if yours is price, what would you look for? Cost of a game, season ticket cost, merchandise costs, something like that, right? Something that has a price. And you would find 2 examples and share how you've experienced that yourself. Okay. Then you just go to another person's post and you read what they've said and you ask, oh, hey, like maybe they're talking about the product, which could be the game itself, like attending the game. Well, when did you go to the game? What was it like? How did you experience that? I had a great time when I went to the game. Or I thought the parking was poor and it affected how I experienced the game. Okay. Does this make sense to you, what I'm asking? I want you to be more engaged and do less busy work in a formal writing style. Now, if I find that you guys are not willing to do this and do the participation requirements and and to keep conversations going, then I've reserved the right to switch it back to word minimums and APA citations and formal language. So just, you can write however you want to write, with the exception of please no texting language and or like abbreviations. So that it's clear, just you can use normal writing that would be considered as acceptable in your place of work, for example. Okay. And with good etiquette. Obviously, I don't want you guys like, I don't think anybody wants to read poor etiquette, bad language or slurs of any kind. Okay. So again, you're going to be looking at this and completing the instructions from the angle of your assigned marketing P. You post your post by the first, your initial post is due by Thursday at 11:55 p.m. And then by Friday at the same time, 11:55 p.m., you will need to respond to everybody else's post in the forum. And again, it just needs to be substantive. Read the instructions. It basically tells you what kind of comments I'm looking for. And if you do that, you get the points, plain and simple. So the other thing to make sure that you understand about this, let me go back and share the PowerPoint. We'll dig into this, is that your initial post, like I said, is always going to be due on Thursday, unless you hear from me otherwise. Your peer responses to everybody else's post is going to be due by Friday. And then by Sunday, you will have to go in and respond to everybody who replied or responded to your post or any other. So in other words, we're trying to create 5 or 6 chains of conversation, threads of conversation, and you just have to be part of it. The rubrics are really heavily weighted toward participation rather than content. But don't let that make you think that you can slough, or slack on the content. Still needs to be accurate. Still need to have read the textbook and other sources and accurately present that. But it's more geared toward are you participating? I expect you to be in there making a post or a comment or something 3 days of the week between Thursday and Sunday. Does anybody have any questions about that right now? I see some of you are like, oh crap, this sounds like a lot. Honestly, I don't think it will be. I think it'll be a lot less work. And I think you will likely find it to be more enjoyable than the other ways of doing discussion posts. So yes, no, we good to try it? Okay. We're going to go back here because we've already been going for an hour. And let's take, I have 8:09 on my clock. Let's take 10 minutes and then come back, okay? Stand up, move around, get the juices flowing, get a drink, get a snack, something. But anyway, we'll be back here before 8:20, okay? See you in a few. Okay, welcome back. Everybody still awake and with me? Barely, kind of? Okay, great. So let's go back to this. I'm gonna share the PowerPoint again. And this, I'm gonna just try to fly through this, but I want you to make sure that you understand what I'm looking for the discussion board. So again, a new approach, no word minimums, no APA, unless I find that you guys just aren't really interested or willing to try this new method, and then we'll go back to the old way. As I mentioned before, there are 3 deadlines for every discussion board. Okay, 3 every week. The initial post on Thursday, your responses to every other classmate's post by Friday night, and by Sunday night, responses to everybody who responded to you. So in other words, a conversation is trying to take place, and I want you to be in there keeping it going 3 different times, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Points are weighted, as I said, more toward participation. You need to respond to everybody else's posts rather than just 2 people. And again, we were only 6 people in the class, so it's not like it's going to be a huge burden for you to go in and ask a question. Kind of think of it like a talk show on ESPN or something. You're going in and you're just like, hey, you know, I think that what you said was interesting, but my perspective is this. What do you think? Or ask, you know, just asking a question. You know what I mean by an open-ended question, right? Just making sure everyone's on the same page. Yes, no, maybe, yes, okay. So in other words, it's not a yes, no question, something that makes people have to give a response. And then of course, your engagement replies to everybody who responds. Can you do it? We'll see. I believe you can. I really hope you will, because I think it's going to be such a more enjoyable way of doing discussion boards. So these are the 4 types of assignments that you're going to need to complete in this class: discussion boards, reflection board videos, quizzes, and little essays or papers. Okay, so talking about discussion boards to begin with, there are 8 in total, so that means 1 every week. And again, the deadlines are the same unless you hear from me, like if there's a case of a holiday or a shortened week at UJ, you know, we'll reflect that here. But otherwise, assume Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are your days to be in the discussion forums, okay? For the quizzes, as I mentioned, they are all open book. They're always due on Wednesday by 11:55 in PM. Now, does that mean you can do the quiz, or you have to wait until Wednesday to do it? But you can do that any time of the learning week, starting on Monday. But they're due no later than Wednesday. And if you try to do it after that, it'll be late and it'll be a 0. Now, I wouldn't say, going back to discussion boards, I would say don't try to do those early, because the way the grading works is that I return grades and feedback on discussion boards on Wednesdays, so that you have a day to read the feedback and apply it to the next one, Thursday, when it's due. So if you try to do the next week, like if you try to submit your initial post for a discussion board, say on Tuesday, you're going to lose the advantage of having gotten feedback on how you can improve from the previous one. So it makes sense to wait. You can write it ahead of time, save it in Word or whatever, but don't post it until you had a chance to go through the feedback and make any adjustments. Reflection board videos are a video post. So Samuel, for example, please contact IT or somebody on campus to make sure that you've got the right browser video set up, because there are going to be 4 of these assignments that you'll need to be able to do, and they'll have to go into the forum. Okay, so make sure you spend a little time this week trying to get that sorted out. The way that the reflection board videos work, they're typically a minimum of 2 minutes of recording time, maximum of 3 for most of those videos. So they're short, and you either watch a video or read a short article, and then answer the questions in a video response. You don't have to do any responding to peers. There's nothing. It's just, that's it. That's your post. Nothing else required. No responses or replies are required. So that should be a 2 thumbs up, right? A lot less work. It's just a quick video and off you go. Now the essays and papers, I've listed them here. They're a mix of theory and practical application because I think it's really important at the graduate school level to do more than just regurgitate information. So the SWOT analysis, you're going to only identify one strength, one weakness, one opportunity, one threat. So it's not a full-blown SWOT analysis. It's like an executive version. You're just going to pick the most prominent one, or not pick. You're going to discover the most prominent strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. And you're going to note that. And then you're going to give an overview of what makes a good SWOT analysis. And in that part of the paper, you will have to do academic writing with APA citations, because you can't go to grad school without getting some of that. But what you'll find in each of these essays and papers is that it's really only 3 or 4 paragraphs of the entire paper where you have to use academic writing and use APA formatting and citations. And it tells you in the instructions which ones those are so that you can make sure to hit those and get them correct. So a SWOT analysis, and by the way, they are minimum word counts. So you're looking at between 300 and 500 words. Or maybe I didn't say that right. It ends up being about a 2-page paper for each of these. So we're not talking huge long assignments, but they have to be concise. You have to address all the information, hit all the content, and meet the requirements in that way. The VALS survey is kind of a fun assignment because you're taking a market research survey, and then you're going to ask 10 of your fans of the team that you selected in discussion 1B. You're going to ask 10 of their fans to take the survey as well. And then you're going to, from that, determine which VALS, which is values, attitudes, and lifestyles of purchasing behavior, not personality, but how people behave with their buying methods around sport or any other consumer product. And so once you find out your type, you have to describe it to me in your paper. You give it the survey to the 10 fans, and you pull out from the results what are the top 2 groups, and you describe that, and then you will have to describe how you plan to tailor your marketing messages to be effective for that team's fans. Okay, so kind of fun. I think they're going to be fun assignments. Again, 2 pages. So you're going to be doing a good amount of lead up work, but the assignment itself is not cumbersome in terms of length. The promotion plan is another example of another executive type version, because you're going to choose one promotion based on your target group from the VALS survey and what you learn about your team and its fans. You're going to pick one promotion, and that's it. Create a plan for it. Part of that paper, you'll have to do some academic writing with APA citation as well. Then you'll be asked to write a human interest story. So you'll have to get to know your team, the team you've chosen, well enough to kind of dig out what would be a good human interest story. And by that, I mean like a small feature story that could be posted like in the NCAA magazine, or pretend like it could get into Sports Illustrated, or something, but it's a feel good feature human interest story about somebody on the team. Sorry, my throat's getting a little weird. The sponsorship proposal. Again, it's an executive version, not a big full one. I want to know that you can understand the concepts and how to put one together. So you'll be looking to create a plan to approach one really mutually benefiting sponsor for the team you've selected. That will also have a few paragraphs in which you'll have to use academic writing and APA citation. Then I'm going to ask you to kind of step into the shoes of a sport marketer or an SID and learn about how to write a good news release. And you'll have to actually write one or two based on some scenarios that I'll give to you. Then the same thing is true with social media. I imagine that each of you is highly skilled at using social media for yourself. But I'm going to ask you to think about it differently, where you are now going to be representing the team and the college or the University of Jamestown, and have to follow along with the voice of the existing social media that is being produced, and the hashtags that are most useful that are being used. And you'll need to do a Facebook post and a tweet each with photos for two different hypothetical scenarios, like a coach is retiring, a student athlete has gotten a nod to go play semi-pro in Europe, or things like that that make you have to think about, okay, how would I write this so that I further the credibility of the university rather than detract from it. And then the final assignment, it's not a big assignment, not worth a huge amount of points, but it's a PowerPoint presentation that you will need to deliver on Zoom. It would have been in class, hence the name in class presentation, but it's basically you choosing two advertisements that you find online and telling us what the source is for each one, who the target audience is and why, what channel or channels that it's used, like, is it TV, social media, printed media, some other thing, and who the receivers are, or the destination. So that will be a very brief, shouldn't take more than 15 minutes or less even to present that to the rest of the class, but plan on that being part of what is taking place when we meet on Zoom for week 8. That's a quick overview. The main thing to know is that they're always due on Sunday. Remember, the learning week is Monday through Sunday, so you get the whole week, to get the assignment done. Okay, looks like a lot, but it's going to go fast, and I think they're going to be fun. You can probably tell I'm enthusiastic about this topic. I enjoyed doing sport marketing. I still enjoy doing marketing for other companies. And the fact that it's not just a boring theoretical assignment, I hope you'll find a way to be enthused about that as well. Okay, so deadlines and grading. Again, I mentioned the deadlines. The grades are going to be returned to you no later than the day before. This should read Wednesday. That's a typo. Instead of day 3, should be a Wednesday. So that you have that day before the next one is due to check the feedback and improve anything that needs to be improved. Grades for the RBVs are the same thing because they're due Thursdays. You'll get the feedback and grade back no later than day 3 so that you have that available to you. For quizzes, because they're due day 3, they're open book. You get 1 attempt, there aren't do-overs. So bring your best game to that. And those grades, I think, are immediate. I believe those are automatically graded quizzes. So you'll have that instead of by day 3, you'll have those immediately. For papers, they're due on day 7. Obviously, no responses or anything like that are required. And those grades would be back to you no later than Saturday night, so that you have a day to read the feedback and apply it. Anything that needs to be applied in terms of APA or formatting or content or your approach or anything like that. Any questions real quick on what the assignments might be like and what's gonna, when the grades will be back to you and what you're expected of? Anybody else? Don't make me do the Ferris Bueller teacher, okay? Or maybe you don't even know that. That's how old I am. Okay, so rubrics. Every assignment has a rubric and they are either embedded or attached to the instructions. So make sure that you look at them before you prepare your assignment. If you want to get a good grade, that'll help you a lot. Same with feedback. Make sure you're looking at the feedback when it comes back to you. A lot of the feedback will be contained in the rubric itself once it's completed and returned to you. But you can always ask. In fact, I hope you would always ask for clarification from me if you're not sure what's going on or why you earned the grade you earned. Okay, turbo mode, academic writing. There are differences. Obviously, I talked a little bit earlier about third person voice versus first person, but grammar, punctuation, all of these things are going to be expected of you in those few paragraphs of each of the papers where you're being asked to write this way. So go back through this if you need to see what's not happening. Most of the instructions also tell you, please do this, please do not do this. One of the main things that will hurt you on your score, if in this part of the paper where you're asked to use academic writing, is if you use a lot of direct, or if you use any direct quotations. You know, so if you're quote, this is verbatim what it says, quote, and then citing it, that's going to hurt you, because all that shows me as the instructor is, hey, you can copy and paste. Woo, good for you. Okay. What I need to see, what you're going to be evaluated on is, can you take something that you read and put it into your own words and use that and still get the point across accurately? So think about paraphrasing, not direct quotations. Other aspects that you would find might hurt your grade, obviously errors in grammar or writing. Use a spell checker for sure at the minimum. Read your work out loud. That's one of the easiest ways to catch typos. Just read it out loud because it won't sound right to you if it's an error. Any incomplete or unclear sentences that don't follow academic or formal writing and APA. Using contractions like can't, won't, doesn't, I'll, I'm, we will, all those that are part of our normal way of speaking. When you are asked to write a portion of the assignment in academic writing, don't use contractions. Same thing with informal language. I'm asking you to not use text language, slang, heavy slang, abbreviations, you know, or try to write it without punctuation. Write it as though you're working in a workplace and you want to be thought of as a credible professional. Sources, the main thing is when I'm asking you to find a source, because some of the papers require you to find sources, we're talking mainly about scholarly sources. So like journal articles in particular. The textbook is considered, our textbook would be considered a scholarly source. But a website or like a Forbes magazine or Sports Illustrated or some website like Bleacher Report or, you know, whatever, those are going to be considered secondary sources. So pay attention to the instructions and how they're phrased regarding what kind of sources you need to have. And just know that mainly we're looking for primary sources, but you can also use secondary sources to fill in around the required primary source. Because, you know, a published journal article typically is going to have older content because of the process of getting it published, and it just takes longer. So you're going to need to have more current information many times from someplace online. Inappropriate sources. Can somebody tell me what you think might be an inappropriate source?
Wikipedia.
Yes, thank you. Wikipedia, don't use it, or About, or any of those, you know, like self-curated things. One other thing to pay attention to with sources is that you want it to be newer than 10 years old. So anything after 2012 is fair game. If it's older than that, it's not going to be likely to be accepted by me unless it's what's called a seminal source. And what that means is a seminal source is like the person who came up with the what makes the dog salivate when he rings the bell, Pavlov, right? If that's the source and you're talking about that theory, then you can use a source from a long, long time ago because it's the main originating source for that idea. Otherwise, we're looking at 2012 or later for sources for this course. In terms of the APA, in the 7th edition, if you didn't know this, from the 6th edition required Times New Roman size 12 font for everything. 7th edition does not require that. It's any professional font, meaning not a handwriting or a grunge font or emojis or something like that, but any professional serif or sans serif font. So like a Calibri, an Arial, a Helvetica, just a basic font, but anything size 12, and that you need to use the same font, the same point size throughout the entire document. So that's the main thing to know about font. And then lastly, please don't use citation generators that you find even in your own library, the UJ library or other places online, because they are 99% of the time incorrect. They just don't rewrite their algorithms quickly enough or often enough to keep up with the changes in APA. So master this part of APA, which is coming up here in a second. Plagiarism. For me, plagiarism I see primarily in two forms. A student may contact a previous student of the class and go, hey, you got that paper from whatever, and use that paper as their own, or they'll buy one online, and believe me, we can find that. Or, and this is what I see most often, is not citing any of the work, which is just as big of an act of plagiarism as is stealing somebody else's paper and saying, this is my work. So just don't do it. It's just not worth it. Like the first time, I'll give you a warning. The second time, you'll get a 0 for the content part of the rubric, which typically contains the most points available. So it will really hurt your grade. And the third time, or any time after that, second time, you'll get a 0 for the whole assignment. And the academic dean or the provost will get a report about that. So you can go out and look at different common types of plagiarism. But the main thing I want you to think about when it comes to that is, obviously, I don't expect any of you, I expect all of you not to be cheating. But I want you to be really aware of the plagiarism that comes from just not citing your work in APA, because a lot of times students just kind of skip over that as a meaningful type of plagiarism, and I don't want that to happen to you. So to be able to master some APA, there are there's main types of sources that you'll use: the textbook, scholarly articles, non-scholarly sources, and videos. So I want to give you just a quick kind of thing that you can revisit. You can download this PowerPoint presentation will be posted in an announcement in the class sometime this week, so you can download it and use this as a reference. But you can basically see through the color coding that for a journal article with a DOI, which is the way to find it, that the yellow part is the author, the green is the year, the blue is the title, or the aqua is the title, and the orange is the information about the journal. So this is a format, and this would be an actual reference. And the color coding, I think, should be helpful as you can kind of dissect the parts of an APA 7th edition reference. When you cite it in text, this particular one has more than three or more authors. So that in 7th edition now requires you to use the et al. So it's the first author listed, et al. With a period, then a comma, and the year. Okay, so I'm going very quickly over this because I know y'all are smart, and you can come back and look at this and make sure that you master it. I expect you to get this down by the end of our 8 weeks though, so that you don't have to start over again in the next class and learn this and get the same kind of points potentially removed from your from what's available to you. If you master it now, you'll be better. You'll be so much better off. So this is our textbook, the D's, Walsh, McAvoy, McKelvey, Mullen, Hardy, and Sutton. So we've got 3 or more authors, right? Yes. So the citation would be et al. So it takes the D's, et al, period, then a comma, and the year of publication. Now, if you're clever, you'll look through the course. This has been presented for you in several places, correctly formatted. And if I was you, I'd look for it and I'd copy and paste it into my paper, making sure that you understand and look for like where things are italicized, because that can sometimes get lost in the copy paste transfer. And you can just add that again, add the italics again once you've pasted it in. Same thing with journal articles or any other of these type of references. There are correct examples in the course. So look for them and use them. Nothing wrong with that. Excuse me. So you can see a scholarly article. We've got authors. How many authors do we have in this one? Thanks, Cameron. 4. The title is here. Notice that the title is in sentence case. Sentence case means the first word or proper words are, proper nouns are capitalized. Everything else is lowercase. And you can see that. And then the name of the journal is in italics. And so is the volume number. See the 27? That's the volume number. The parentheses and the 2, that's the issue number. That is not italicized. So when you're presenting a reference of a scholarly journal, make sure that you also italicize the volume number. And then again, this has 3 or more authors. So Dumais et al. And 2013. Here's an example of a website, slate.com. It has an author. The article has a title, People Around the World are la la la. And the name of the website is Slate and then the URL. So that's the general format. Now, if this doesn't have an author, it's just something that the people who work for Slate wrote and put up, and nobody specifically is named, you would just put Slate up here instead of Freitas N. Slate would go there instead because it's a corporate author. The website itself would be considered the corporate author. Now you'll be using, you'll be citing videos. And again, I've created and presented correct video APA references, so look for them and use them. But the main idea is that if there is a name of an actual person on the YouTube channel, you include that and also the username if that's different. Now, if there is no actual person's name, then you just use the bracketed username for YouTube for that channel, the day and year that it was uploaded. And then the title again is in sentence case. So just the first word is capitalized. And then you have to say, this is a video and where it is, YouTube, and then the URL for it. And in the citation, in this case, it would be the author's name and the year. I know I went really fast and I'm expecting that, well, I'm not expecting because I know how real life seeps in. I'm hoping that as you start to think about doing this, that you will find it expedient to learn this yourself and come back and look at these for good examples. Next week, I'm going to be using a couple of announcements in the class that I'm going to invite you to play along with because APA is all about little details. I think that it's kind of a playful thing to try to get in the habit of looking for the details. Did you guys ever do this when you were kids? Like, did you ever do any of the spot the difference things where you compare between two pictures that are similar and you try to find all the differences between them? Anybody do that? Yeah. So that's the point of this. I'm going to put an announcement up next week that I'll want you to participate in, and naming, I think there are 10 or so differences between this, and then we'll go into some APA references where you'll need to spot the differences as well, with the goal that it'll become more easily recognizable for you to spot a difference or those little details in APA. The syllabus has a list of, they use the Purdue Online Writing Lab, the OWL source for, excuse me, for an APA resource. I actually like this one better. It's the UMGC Global Campus Writing Lab. And again, if you want the URL, just once this is loaded into the classroom, just download it and you can grab the URL right there. But also the APA style blog online is another really great source for figuring out how to present and format your references. But again, I think this is the best of the three, the UMGC one. And I would really recommend that if you find that you're needing to really use APA more frequently, not just in this course, but others, lean into this. It's super great. Okay, we were going to take a break, but we're almost to 9. So I'm going to vote. Well, I'm going to just make an executive decision that we just keep going and finish it up. Good deal? Can I still see everybody's faces? Yeah, okay. Are you hanging in there? What's going through your minds right now, real quick? Give me a word. One word to describe.
To describe how I feel right now.
Yeah. Be honest. I'm not looking for you to sugarcoat it.
I think we already know most of this information, so I'm really tired.
Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Kind of refreshing for some of it.
Okay, thank you. My word is horse and ready. Well, 4 words and ready to be done.
I second that.
Okay, thank you. Samuel, what's your word? How are you feeling?
I'm good. Let's just keep it going. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, guys. You're really kind. Okay, so be amazing. These are just my final tips for you. If you are not already using a system that helps you manage yourself, not time, but yourself, find one that works for you. If it's paper, if it's online, if it's a calendaring system, whatever it is, start using it. Look through the due dates for this course and take 10 or 15 minutes and just plug everything in. Don't wait until the day something is due to start working on it, because I promise you, many of the assignments are meant for you to work or do something about them, collecting information or interviewing somebody or things of that nature that you just cannot do if you wait until the day it's due to start working on it. So plan ahead, start early in the week, know what's coming up, subscribe to the forums, especially so that, and the discussion forums, so that you can see when another comment has come in, that you can be in there and you can go, oh, and you can respond. Okay. Get really good at managing yourself. I know you're good at it already in terms of what you're doing with sports and with your teams, but add this into it if you're not already. Then as far as email goes, do you use email? Yeah. Okay. Do you use just your school email, or do you use a personal email more?
School one for sure, just because it's something that's actually happening in my life right now.
Okay. All right. If you're using a personal email more so than the school email, just set up a quick forwarder. I'm sure you all know how to do that. And just so that you make sure that you catch these. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I typically don't do texting just because I have a life too. And I'm a part-time online instructor at UJ. It's not my full-time job. So but I am willing to do texting for like questions that come up just before the assignment is due, for example. Like, oh crap, my system is down, or my laptop broke, or whatever. If you need to do that, we can talk more about bringing texting in. Otherwise, email is my preferred method for communicating with you, because it gives me a good chain of conversation that I can go back to in case something is missed. So be on top of the email, make sure you're checking it regularly. We saw even just between yesterday and today about trying to get everybody on board as to whether we could include the 2 hockey guys later tonight or not. And I didn't get emails back from several of the students in the class. So we need, if we're going to stick with email, let's make sure that we're all checking it regularly. And then there is a way to improve spell checker. If you're interested, I'm happy to walk you through personally. It's just a couple of check boxes in Microsoft Word, but it will check for a lot more stuff related to academic writing, which you might find helpful. But I'm not going to go through that with you tonight. Just make sure that you are checking your work. Some people who teach online recommend Grammarly. I'm not a huge fan of it because I've taught undergrad, grad, and doctoral levels, and I find that many times it doesn't match up to what's required. But anyway, the final thing here, guys, this is a thing I want you to make sure you understand. In my experience teaching, and I've taught several years online, the students who reach out and ask for help or for clarification almost always perform a whole lot better than those who don't. So if you're wondering, despite my detailed long instructions for every assignment, if you're wondering what exactly is she looking for, just shoot me an email and ask me, hey, can you clarify this for me? Now, don't do that until you've actually tried to figure it out, because I'll expect you to do that your own for yourself first. But if you're really stuck, just ask me. I'm more than happy to answer questions if I can. And if not, I'll point you to the right resource in the library or the writing lab or wherever. So there's no need to have a lifesaver. There shouldn't be a need, because you can just ask a question. So an appropriate time. Are there any questions about this at all? Everything we've talked about tonight. Any questions?
I have 2 quick questions about the papers that are due. With the human interest story, can we do ourselves? Like, if we have an interesting story, or would you rather us have do someone else?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't been asked that yet. Let's see. Quick thinking. I think I would say no this time around, and here's why. Part of doing that I want you to get practice, or the experience at least, of asking around and figuring out what a good story is and where it exists in the team. And if it's your own, then you miss out on that experience of trying to identify where a good story is.
Okay, that makes sense. And
Good
then
question.
for the which one was it? The in-class presentation one. I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but do you want us to do it in the realm of sports, or can it be anything?
Oh, no, there are specific instructions for it. So
Okay.
when you get to week 8, look at the instructions. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And then you'll just need to, I'll set up the Zoom call for that final week so that everybody can share their screen, and you'll just share your presentation and give it to us through Zoom.
Okay, perfect.
Good question. Anybody else?
Is there I've been trying to find the book online. Do you know exactly where we can find it?
The bookstore should be able to direct you right to that. Have you tried there?
The UJ bookstore?
Yeah.
No, I just looked online and on Amazon. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, go to the bookstore or contact the person in the bookstore, because they've been given this book ISBN. so that it's available for you there.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, check there. And if you still run into trouble, then let me know and we'll find another way for you.
Okay.
Anything else? Nope. Okay, then what my last question for you is, what does it sound like? Does the course sound like it might be interesting, or does it just sound like, well, man, whatever? And you can be honest. I really value honesty, truly. Not going to hurt my feelings at all, even though I made the course and you better not say what you, no, I'm just kidding. Seriously, I'd like to know, does it sound like it could be fun, or does it sound like, oh gosh, that's me a lot?
I think it sounds interesting. If I was in another class that had another 20-page paper, I might have lost my mind.
Yeah,
So this sounds
Good.
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 I think it's cool just because we get to learn more about the behind the scenes stuff, sports related, about what the stuff that's kind of overlooked, I guess. I don't know. And it's a different aspect.
Good. Yep. And that's intentional. And I'm designed it so that will come through. And I believe it will, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Anybody else?
I think at first it kind of just seems like it's a lot to do, but once we kind of get into it, it's just going to become a lot more interesting for us, and like learning about like how each one of us kind of view it.
Right. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing as well. I'm not gonna be real heavily present in the discussion forums. I'm gonna just kind of hover around the edges and pop in and, make comments here and there. But because I want this to be something that you guys just talk about. And I think you'll find like for week, I think it's for week 8, the discussion topic is NIL. Right? You'll know what that is, right? Name, image, likeness, all that. So you get to like look at it from the perspective of a student athlete, or the perspective of a coach, or an AD, or the conference commissioner, or the NCAA itself. And you get to talk about all those things, sort of like a roundtable talk show kind of thing, but in a written format. So, okay, I could talk about this for a lot longer, but hey, look, it's 9 o'clock. And unless you have any other questions, I'm going to say, have a good evening. Thanks for showing up. And good luck with the assignments that begin tomorrow. If you have questions, again, reach out to me, okay? All right, bye. Have a good night.